Hello, good morning. I am Sarah Hegstrom, and today's video is all about how to get into the flow state. I'm also going to be taking you along through a day in the life. So if you want something entertaining and educational, today's video is going to be perfect for you. So let's get into it. Good morning. Today is hair wash day, and I'm going to oil my scalp because I tend to have a little dandruff, a little dry skin. I always part my hair in the middle, and I'm not great about putting sunscreen on my scalp. I mean, who really is, are you? So that's what we're gonna do now. So we're gonna let the oil absorb, or actually let the heat absorb into the oil. That's like an Ayurvedic tradition, is to oil the scalp. And so let's do it. Okay, so I'm gonna use coconut oil, castor oil, which is good for hair growth, which I guess I'm growing my hair out. It's like, I always want long hair until I want short hair. And I also have some of this. You see this? This I really like. It is a blend of oil, so it does have coconut oil, but it also has rosemary, which is good for hair growth. It has cinnamon, it has black sesame seed, it has just a bunch of stuff. I can link it below if you guys are curious. This is for dry, delicate, and fine hair, which I have fine hair. Okay, this reminded me when I was getting ready to do this, because I'm going to use my oil pulling spoon, which is just a regular spoon. I've been wanting to oil pull, and it's just like there's not enough time to do all the things, you know? And then when I think about all the things I want to do and like not being able to do them, that stresses me out. So really just do what you can. Today we are doing some oil to the hair, which is really a bonus. And I wanted to tell you also, like, my dosha in Ayurveda is pitta, so there's a lot of heat and a lot of fire, and the oil pulling is supposed to cool some of that fire, take some of that fire out. So knowing what your dosha is could be really important, because you might be like, oh, like, I don't know if I really need that. Although they do say like scalp health is really important. I am not a hair expert, you know, so we're just going to do it now. Here we go. So I'm going to do a mixture in my hand. I'm just going to do a little bit of coconut oil, a little bit of this hair serum, and then a little bit of the castor oil. See? Okay. And then we're gonna do this. Oh, shoot. Okay, this is messy. I've clearly never done this with coconut oil before. Oh, I know why. You know why I'm like having a hard time, you guys? Because this is not the oil I normally use, but we're going for it. I'm going to show you the oil that I would recommend. I think because I'm filming this, I just forgot my situation. So I normally use, when I'm doing this, fractionated coconut oil. Oh, that's hilarious. And that is liquid form, so you're not going to have like chunks of coconut. But I don't oil pull with that. I don't recommend that. It just feels so much more processed. So who knows, maybe this is going to be a lot better. So I just really get it into my scalp. And then oh, that feels good. I also have a scalp massager, but I do that in the shower. All right. Now that we got coconut oil on the floor, it's fine. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little bit more of the liquids, and I'll show you. So this is liquid coconut oil. It is a lot easier to use, right? Okay. And this is my brush for when I put oil in my hair, like a special brush for it. I just find that otherwise when I wash my hair and it's dry and I brush it, if I use the same brush, it makes my hair oily so much sooner. So having a dedicated brush really helps. Cool. And then I'm gonna go for a walk, so I gotta contain this. Did I get oil on me? Yeah, it's embarrassing. I'm just kidding, it's not. We're just doing our best. Okay, so should I do a part or should I do a slick back so I don't burn? I just feel better with a middle part. I don't know why, it just feels better to me. Okay, now I clean up. All right, hair is washed, it is still drying. I have my lemon balm tea. I've been making this since experiencing Bell's palsy. It's really good for the nervous system and your digestion. And I just make a big thing of it in the morning and just let it sit at room temperature. It's really nice. Okay, so we are gonna be talking about flow state and how to get into the flow state. So this assumes that you already know what the flow state is, but if not, flow state is when you are in a high vibrational mood and you are going about your business without any resistance. You are in connection with your higher self or your soul, and things just come to you and then you solve them. So like any issues, anything, it's like you can't be bothered, you can't be slowed down. Like everything is just working out for you. You are in the zone. That is the flow state. I'm sure you've been there. I know for me, like sometimes I'll be writing emails and it's like, I don't even know what time it is. I'm just like in the zone. Or when I'm teaching a group session, you know, and I'm coaching with people, it's just like the hour goes by so fast. That is some examples from my own life where it's like, oh yeah, I was definitely in the flow. Speaking on podcasts with good company, those are all times when I'm in the flow. And why do you want to be in the flow? You want to be in the flow because that is when you are connected to your higher self. That is when you are not attached to the outcome. That's when you are not trying to control things. And that is when you are prime for your manifestations to take physical form. So you really want to be in the flow state. It feels good. It feels very expansive. You have probably experienced that before where it's like, I just want to be in that state all the time. Meditation, when you're in meditation, you're connected to your higher self. So it's just like life feels light and fun and flowy and stress-free. It's like, who doesn't want that? So how do we get into the flow state? How do we maintain the flow state? Big things that I've seen, themes, like one of them is releasing control. If you are trying to control every little thing, you are in your mind, you are in your solar plex, you are using will, trying to make things happen. And I know because I've spent a lot of time there. That is like how I used to operate. I thought I had to make things happen. I thought if I just made the right choices in life, I worked really hard, then everything would work out. And, for me, if you're like, that's how I feel right now, and I'm trying to let that go, for me, running a business, that has really helped me release control, which is like kind of interesting because you might think it's the other way around. But Peter and I, we have been running businesses now for 10 years. And 2 years ago, we were so focused on scaling and helping the most amount of people and making, a lot of money. And that came with a lot of stress. It was super stressful, and it made me realize that that is actually not what is most important to me. And then also with health, and health challenges. I've had like 2 really big health challenges come up, which I now see as health opportunities that have allowed me to grow and expand and really connect to my soul and make sure that I'm living in alignment with it and living on my path. I think we all have a higher path that we came here to live out, but we can kind of get taken off course from life, from the ego, from just things that happen to us. And so I think that things like health challenges will come up so that we can course correct. And that has been so true for me. And I just realized that, there's a lot of things that are outside of my control. And it was really freeing because it was like, okay, no matter what, if I do all the quote unquote right things, like I could still get an outcome that my personality doesn't love, because things happen. I do believe things happen for a reason, but we don't always know what that reason is. Later on, we can look back and be like, oh, I see why that happened. It was here to teach me. It was here to put me in a better relationship. It was here to help me write this book, like whatever it is. And then sometimes like it is too complex of a reason for our minds to comprehend. And so we don't learn what that is in this lifetime, and that's okay too. So really releasing control, that will help you get into the flow state. Letting go of control, letting go of everything having to be perfect. And if you struggle with releasing control, I'll link a post below where I talk about this, but I would ask yourself, like, what is it about releasing control that scares you? What is your fear around that? Because that is the inner work that you can work on. For me, it was like, I was afraid if I released control that my life would be chaotic, and chaos is dangerous. Chaos means that I'm not going to live out my life's purpose. Like all of these different stories that I was holding on to from my childhood and other experiences that I really had to work through so I could release those and see like, oh, actually like releasing control is like very freeing, and it is the path to enlightenment, the path to being in the flow state and manifesting miracles. And that's essentially like what I actually desire. So releasing control, that's a big one. Another thing for us modern humans, entrepreneurs, go-getters, those who have high ambition, like myself, is not to overpack your schedule, which is really hard to do. I feel like if you are on social media, if you listen to podcasts, I don't know about you, but I feel like there's so many podcasts that are like, here's how you can fit in more things in the day and do more and do more and do more. And really, like one of our programs, Inner Money Flow, it's actually about getting your time back. And when you're in the flow state, you will be able to do more if that is what you desire. But it's not about like cramming your schedule and like, okay, I'm here for 30 minutes and then I'm here for 30 minutes and I'm recording like 50 podcasts in one day. It's more so about getting in alignment with what you desire and saying no to the things that aren't in your highest path. And then also another part of it is outsourcing things to the universe, because if you just get clear on what you desire from your day, like all the things, you're like, okay, these are all the things that I have to do or I want to do or the outcome that I desire, and just focus on you doing the things that you're most excited about, the other things can get done too. Solutions will present themselves where you actually don't have to do the work. And I know this can be hard to grasp until you've experienced it, until you've witnessed it. This has happened with me so many times where it's like, I overscheduled podcast interviews and client calls and I'm just not feeling it. And then the podcast host will be like, hey, is it okay if we reschedule for next month? And I'm like, yes, perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. Things like that. Or Peter will be like, hey, I'm actually going to go up to Vaughn's. Like, is there anything you need? And I'll be like, yeah, actually, I need you to take these returns. That would be awesome. Just like little things like that free up my day so I can work on what I really want to work on. And so back to how does this get into getting into the flow state? Well, part of it is not overpacking your schedule. When you're overpacking your schedule, what happens is you are trying to fit everything in. So again, you're in your mind, you're not fully in your heart, and you're not fully like relaxed. You're trying to make sure you get everything done, and you are looking at the time. Disconnecting from time is also another way to maintain the flow state and collapse timelines, which is really powerful for manifesting a new reality sooner. If you want to speed up your manifestations, accelerate your healing, then disconnecting from time is a really profound way to do that. So really, not overpacking your schedule is another way that you can get into the flow state. I'll also say for getting into the flow state is getting into your body, because I talked about being in the mind. When you're in the mind, you're thinking, right? You're using like your logic. And while that can be helpful, you really also want to be using your intuition. You want to be in your heart. You want to be connected to the magic of the universe. And so getting into your body or moving into your heart is really powerful. And so there are lots of ways to do this. And part of what I teach is inner work. And so my inner work is probably going to look different than yours, probably going to look different than somebody else watching. You know, we all need different things based on our personalities, based on our soul, based on where we are in life. And so for me, there are lots of ways that I can get into my body. But one thing I like to do every day to make sure that I am priming myself to get into a flow state is to go for a walk. I feel like going for a walk, and I don't listen to anything, because I feel like that can get me in my head and my thinking brain. I do listen to podcasts, but I do another walk later on in the day, or like while I'm making dinner, I'll listen to a podcast. But the morning walk, I like to just look at nature and be grateful, and that allows me to get into my heart. And so that's one way to get into your body. Another way would be yoga. It could be meditation. It could be Pilates. Anything that allows you to move from your head to your heart, get into your body, and really connect and feel grateful. Not checking social media. I honestly feel like that is just so disharmonizing for the body, for manifestations, for the flow state. So really doing your best. Like if you are like, I want to be in the flow state, like trying not to check social media. I find it instantly takes me out of the flow when I'm like looking at messages or looking at somebody else's stories, you know. And so just being more intentional with when you do that, because I also like to look at social media and connect with other people. But I don't know, just recently, it's like a new shift in me. I think because I'm running more energy throughout my body and there's like a lot of changes, I'm a little bit more sensitive currently. It's also that time of the month. So, you know, do what you will with it. But I just find that it can instantly like take me out of the flow. And then I start thinking like, oh, should I be doing what that person's doing? Oh, should I make that? You know, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do this? And that is not in the flow. When you're in the flow, you're clear. You're like, oh, I'm going to make that. And then I'm going to go here. And then I'm going to do this. And it's just like, boom, boom, boom. You're in the zone, like Michael Jordan. So those are some things that I recommend. If you are a more anxious person, then you're probably going to need to do more things to get into the flow state, and you're probably going to have to like re-get into it. I've been practicing this for a while. So you might have like a day where you're in the flow state in the morning, and then the evening you're like not in the flow state. And I remember when Peter and I really started practicing this, where it was like, okay, we're not going to like be crazy and try to be productive. We used to do this thing where we would value, or we would rate our day based on how productive we are. So if we got a lot done, we'd be like, oh, it's a great day today. I did this and I did this and I did this and I did this. And now it's like, I want to rate my day based on how present I was, how much joy I experienced, you know, how full my cup feels, not how exhausted I am by the end of the day. And so when we first started transitioning to this new model of being entrepreneurs and being on the spiritual path and being in a relationship and being children and siblings and all of that and good friends, like it's like, okay, what does that look like in terms of being in the flow while having all of these roles? And we would notice that we could do, like I was saying, like a morning where we were in the flow, but then the afternoon, well, actually it was usually reversed. It would be like we'd be out of the flow, and then we would like connect for lunch and be like, how are you doing? How are you doing? And be like, not great, you know, like my mindset isn't great. I'm like trying to get all this stuff done. And so we would just like reconnect to like, what is it that we truly desire? What is it that we need for the rest of the day? And then we would course correct. So one thing that a lot of our students in Inner Money Flow like is this thing that I recommend. I feel like we need a name for it. So if you have an idea for a name for it, let me know. But it's kind of like a vibe check where you'll set an alarm. You'll choose like the vibration that you want to be at, right? So it's like love, joy. It's like, I want softness. I want to be the type of person who is making $1 million a year, like whatever it is. It's like, who is it that you are trying to be right now? What is it that you need? And what is that vibration? What does that feel like in your body? How do you show up in the world, right? So you lock into that. So say like you're watching this and you're like, I want to be in the flow. I want to be in a high vibrational mood. I want to be going through my day like I'm walking on a cloud, right? So you connect with that vibration. How does that feel in your body? And then you set a timer. How long do you think you can maintain that before you'll need a check-in? I literally started with an hour, and the timer would go off and I would be like, yep, good. And then I'd set it for another hour, right? And then I'd be like, ooh, that wasn't as good. Okay, like reconnect, you know? And then you can do it for 3 hours or 5 hours or just twice a day. I feel like this used to be really popular with affirmations. I don't know if you did this. Peter and I used to do this where we would have affirmations come up. When we were first starting our health coaching business, it was like, I'm making $5,000 a month, because that was like one of our first big goals as new entrepreneurs. And it would like come up every day at 8 a.m., you know, first thing in the morning. It's like, oh yeah, even as we were like going to our jobs. So kind of similar to that, like a vibe check, you could do that too, just as like a reminder to like maintain the flow state, whatever it takes. Honestly, it's just getting into a high vibrational mood, anything that allows you to feel good, get out of your head and feel like you are capable of going through your day in the energy and the frequency that you want. That is the flow state, my friend, and that is how you maintain it. So I hope that was helpful. Now we are going to go and make some treats, because that is something that really helps me get into the flow too, and like relaxes my nervous system and makes me feel good. And it's just nice to have some kind of, I like to make like a protein bar or cookies or something to have throughout the week. So that's what we're going to do now. So let's go do it. We are going to make treats. They're going to be good. We're making a caramel chocolate oat bar. When I decided I was going to do YouTube, I was like, oh, mine will be like calm and relaxing and like aesthetically pleasing. But the reality is that's just not who I am. So this is your real life vlog. Okay, so I don't really measure. It's going to be like a boob shot. I don't really measure ingredients roughly. So I'll link the recipe that I'm using below, but just know like we're not going to follow it completely. So we're using oats, and I'm going to put them in the food processor. And then I'm doing Brazil nuts. The recipe calls for almonds, but I'm going to do a mixture of Brazil nuts and almond flour, because I feel like almond flour is in everything, especially if you're plant-based. And I am really big on diversity of nutrients, and Brazil nuts are really good for your hormones. They are high in selenium, which we don't get enough of. So I'm gonna do like a half and half ordeal. Food processor. I feel like not a lot of people are using food processors, but like I feel like blender is all the rage, but food processor is so helpful. So we did that. And then we are gonna do some almond flour too. And this is for the base. It's gonna be the base of them. Okay, and then I have my computer back there for the recipe since I'm using my phone to record. Maple syrup and coconut oil. That is what we need. So let this be either an example that you can use your phone for vlogs, or an example of why you need to get a professional camera. I'm not sure. I am a big fan of starting with what you have, and seeing as this is only, well, I've actually done a lot of vlogs, not vlogs, YouTube videos over the years, but not for this brand. So, okay, this is all the coconut oil we have. How is that possible? So we're gonna make two. I actually don't like using a lot of oils and fats. My body just doesn't do as well with them, but you know, sometimes You want a party. Okay, and then maple syrup. What do you think? That's about 3 tablespoons. We want it all to be able to stick together. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking and we're gonna blend. Okay, I had a slight moment of freaking out where I was like, is this the wrong size container? But the recipe doesn't say what size your pan should be. But I don't know about you guys, but I like my bars kind of thick. So this is a little bit. And this is how I'm doing it. I didn't want to dirty another dish. Anybody else cook like me? Let me know in the comments. Okay, we're going on to round 2, layer 2, which is a caramel layer. For this layer, we're using the food processor again. I'm not even gonna clean it. This time you make things faster. We have our dates that have been soaking in hot water. So I'm gonna dump this, put these in, and then I'm gonna do peanut butter. I mean, is this the best nut butter? Like peanut butter, right? Like what would you say? I like them all, but peanut butter has a special place in my heart. Which we're at the end of the jar, and the end of the jar is always my least favorite. I literally just posted about this on Instagram and was like, what do you guys do? How do you get this out? And of course, here I am with the end of it. Peter, is that you? I feel like I hear him. Say hello to the YouTube family. Can they see you?
Yeah, hi.
I'm making these treats and we're like out of everything. We're like running out. Like we just ran out of coconut oil. We just ran out of peanut butter.
Oh, wow.
Oats. Kind of makes sense though, because I'm getting ready to go to the store, so.
Oh, yeah, that's clever.
Isn't that clever?
Yeah.
Okay. What else do we need in here? Maple syrup, more. Luckily we just got some more maple syrup. We usually shop at the health food store and we had to get, well, our health food store stopped carrying lemons. Isn't that strange? Because they only carry organic produce, and the lemons, I guess, were being like coated with something that wasn't in alignment. Even though it was the lemons are organic, it didn't like reach their standards, and so we had to go to like the regular store for some lemons, and we got some of this. A little more sea salt. I feel like this is gonna be too thick, but we're gonna try it. I feel like it's gonna need some liquid. Okay, this looks great. This is supposed to be like a caramel. Oh, that's good. That's so good. Okay, I know it might not look good, but it is so good. Okay, so I'm gonna do melted chocolate on the top, but I like different textures, so I'm gonna also put some chocolate chips on here too. This is not the most beautiful recipe that I could be making right now, but I hope you can tell it's literally gonna be delicious. I feel like I should have started this off by saying that baking is not my specialty. You probably can tell by this point in the video. When it comes to cooking, queen, I can handle it because you don't have to follow these precise measurements. But when it comes to baking, no. So the fact that I decided to do this on here, like, I don't know what I was thinking, but I think this is gonna be delicious because one thing I do know about baking, if you don't actually have to bake the thing and all of the elements taste good on their own, they're gonna taste good together. Whereas something happens when you put it in the oven that can mess with it. Especially if you are baking with chickpea flour or coconut flour, those are tricky, especially as vegans without eggs. So, okay, we're doing it. We're putting it all together. Here we go, my friend. Here we go. Yum, yum, yum. We are here for this. When I set out to make this, I was like, oh, this is gonna be like a healthy kind of snack thing. It's definitely giving me dessert vibes. I don't know about you, but definitely giving me dessert vibes. We got a lot of sugar going on here, but it is not refined sugar. I was thinking about, you could also do cacao and some like maple syrup rather than chocolate chips, which these chocolate chips just have processed sugar in them. So that would be a way to kind of upgrade it. So I guess it's not refined sugar free. Mostly the chocolate chips are not. They do make chocolate chips that are sweetened with coconut sugar, and I have had those, and those are lovely. There we have it. Look at those layers. Look at those layers. I'm gonna put this in the freezer, and then I will cut it and show you it looking pretty. So, you know the process. Wait for the transformation. Okay, a quick note to how beautiful is our backyard. This is my favorite time of the day, golden hour, as the sun is setting, and it is just luminous back there. So pretty. I'll show you guys sometime. They're good, guys. What do you think?
Yeah, really good.
I feel like they could be a little bit sturdier.
I like them. They're like peanut butter fudgy crumbly.
You heard it here first. He likes them. It is 8 o'clock and I am getting ready to go to the store, so I'm going to end this vlog here. However, I wanted to make a note to share that when you're in the flow state, you might do things later than normal. You might do things earlier than normal. And if you're not used to it, you can want to judge it. Like for me, I used to have like a certain time I wanted to eat dinner and be in bed and wake up in the morning. But when you allow yourself more freedom, when you're in the flow, that's when miracles can happen. That's when amazing connections and opportunities can happen. That's when life can get easier and more fun and more enjoyable. Like driving here tonight, I was like catching every single green light. It was so easy to get here. So I want to put that out there just in case you are like, oh man, Sarah, I'm in the flow state more and it feels really good until it's like 9 o'clock and like I'm eating dinner. It's like just being a little bit more flexible as long as it's feeling good. But at the beginning, it might not feel good. It might feel uncomfortable if you're used to control and structure, but I promise you it will get easier and you will notice you're getting more done. It's more joyful. You have more peace in your life. So I hope you like this vlog. If you did, subscribe, stay tuned because there are more to come. All right, bye friend.